if you right now are sitting on the device that you have and you're not making money, please understand this. I think you already know it has nothing to do with the device. The device works. It has to do with this one word, positioning. And that product is collecting more dust than money. Understand that you have a positioning and presentation problem. It's not a product problem.
The voice you just heard was Dr. Greg Todd. Greg Todd's a physical therapist, man, that is challenging healthcare providers to do more with their careers and not kill themselves in the process. And this is something that I believe is a phenomenal timing for this conversation, because I had the joy of working in this space, and especially coming from the sales and marketing side. There's things that we should be doing to challenge people to think about what they're trying to accomplish with the short period of time that they're going to be working. Let's be honest, we're not going to be here forever. So how are you making the most of your time? He's also having his event, the Smart Success Healthcare Summit, that is going on May 31st and June 2nd in Clearwater, Florida. Man, I look forward to seeing you guys there. We're going to have some good times getting to know some of the people that he's challenging to grow in healthcare. All right, let's get into it with Greg Todd. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Man, I'm super excited to have Mr. Greg Todd back on the podcast. It's been almost 3.5, 4 years. And what you're doing for this physical medicine space, I think, is very important. You're challenging people to think differently. And right before we were about to get into this, I was like, man, I got to press record because you're about to do it again. So welcome back onto the podcast first and foremost, man.
Joe, thank you for having me on, my brother. I appreciate you. And yeah, man, look, I'm still going to do it if we have the same problems, because I think it was my mom that said, you will continue to get the lesson until you finally learn. Okay. So if you haven't learned yet, the lesson will continue to come. And so my thing is that a lot of people have learned, but most people haven't yet. And most people are still trading a lot of their time for a little bit of somebody else's money. And even if they are making it, they're not even happy the way they're making it. So you got two groups, right, Joe? You got those that are making it, but they're tired, they're exhausted, they're burned out. And then you got those that are tired, exhausted, burned out, and they're not even making it. And so that says that there's still a major problem here. And I think people need to think differently. So that's really what I help people do. Help them think differently, but then let's execute on thinking differently and let's create a better life for yourself. That's it.
The process of challenging yourself to go from where you are today to get to this aspirational place of where you want to be in the future, it's a journey. And I think a lot of people have information, especially with all the tech out there now, right? But they don't have the relationships. Could you talk about that process a little bit of kind of how what people know to be true? Like, man, I know I should be doing something different, but I'm here. You know?
Oh man, there's so many different ways we can go with this, but here I'll start by explaining the way most of us learn and why the way that most of us learn has led to where most of us are, which is not where we want to be. So let's talk about that first. Okay. So I believe there's 4 levels of learning, right? And the levels of learning start with the lowest level, which is learning about something. Whoever's listening to this podcast, like, hopefully you get a nugget or two from it, right? But you're learning about it. All right. I'm just giving you concepts. I'm giving you theory. I'm giving you experiences, but it's my experiences, ain't yours. Okay. So you're learning about something, right? Whether it's learning how to sell, learning how to market, learning or learning about treatment, right? Whether you're a therapist, you're a speaker, this, that. Okay. You're learning about something first. Joe, if you think about 95% of your schooling, from elementary school all the way up to if you went to as far as graduate school, was predicated around learning about something, right? Whether it's learning about the Civil War, learning about World War I, learning about sedimentary rock, igneous rock, metamorphic rock, learning about the thing. Okay, great. Right. All right, that's a very, very low level of learning though, right? Because here's my thing. God forbid we get into another war with another country. Let me ask you, do you want at your front line, do you want the person that learned about the Civil War, the person that learned about the Gulf War fighting your battle for you? Or do you want to learn from the person that actually has fought in a war?
Right.
To learn? Okay. Right.
100%.
We want the one that's actually done it. So learning about is a very, very low level. And unfortunately, that's how most people learn.
Yep.
And that's how we've been trained and indoctrinated, that if you just learn about something, you're going to be extremely successful in life. It doesn't work like that. The next level is learning how to do something. Okay. And how to do something is, okay, you taught me about this. You said about that. You said, okay, but now how do you actually do it? Do you have steps in play? Like, this is step number 1. This is step number 2. This is step number 3. This is step number 4. Okay. Having an actual blueprint and a system, that's learning how to do something. That's a higher level of learning. Okay. That's a higher level. By the way, it's still not the highest though. All right. The next level is actually doing the thing. Okay. There's repetitions to that, right? You started this podcast quite a few years ago. I remember I was one of the first couple guests.
That's right. That's right, man.
Like, I'm even just watching now. I'm watching your flow. You're totally comfortable. You're just like, we're gonna have a conversation. Bro, you're so much better.
I've gotten some reps in, for sure. I've gotten some reps in.
Because Joe, you are now at the third level of learning where you are doing the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the highest level of learning, and this is where all the money is at. This is where all the influence is at. This is where the big change is at. That's when you are doing the thing repeatedly and you are on your journey to achieving mastery. Okay. Like, even today, this is going to be a podcast, but we weren't even planning on doing a podcast. But we don't need prep for it. We're just like, you know what? Hey, we're about to drop some gems. Let's not be stingy with it. Let's share it with people. Okay. That's it. It's just a conversation. But if this was your first or second thing, you couldn't do that. But this is what happens now when you are repping it out so much that you are achieving mastery. And so I say that because that is where most people flop, is they only learn about the thing. They don't actually have steps on learning how to do the thing. Then they don't actually do the thing because doing the thing requires change. And then they don't do the thing enough to achieve mastery. Here's one thing I know. I don't know if you follow basketball or not, but
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Average NBA player gets paid $1.1 million a year. Okay. And that's wonderful if you're in the NBA, but only like less than 1%.
0.1 of 1, yeah.
0.1 of 1 is in the NBA. Okay. But LeBron is the best. Steph is the best. These guys get paid $50 to $60 million a year base from their team, and they make usually anywhere between 5 to 10 times that in endorsements, sponsorships, etc. Okay. So what we have to understand is this. What we have to understand is that the goal in life is to be in the top 1% of whatever industry you're in. I'm not interested in hearing about averages, average therapist, average OT, average speech. No. Talk to me about the best. What do the best do? So you will never be the best at anything if you're at that lowest level of learning. It's only when you are doing it so much that you are achieving mastery that you now can get compensated by the best, or you get compensated as the best.
And Greg, man, I mean, like, man, let me tell you, man, that part right there is why I wanted to talk to you offline first. Cause I was like, man, you've lived it. So you've like learned it, and you've kind of learned how to, you've done it. And now you're mastering this piece of helping people build up the practice. And this is my tell to a lot of people that are like on the other side of the table, like people that are in my shoes, the marketers, the sales guys in this space, especially med tech world. You know, I would say physical medicine is probably, when it comes to the overall payout of where it is in the payout of like healthcare, it's not the big pharma guys. It's not the big surgical implants. We're kind of selling these medical products that are non-invasive, right? And everything else. But most of us have not worked in a clinic to where we can say, this is how it's done. This is exactly how you should work with each patient day in, day out. And that's why I wanted to tap on your shoulder, man, and learn about more what you're doing. Because that mastery, you can't do that in like theory land. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against theories, and I'm all about learning some things every once in a while and talking about different aspects of life. But you know, at times when it's time to put the rubber to the road, you want to know someone has lived it and gotten into that mastery zone, right? I mean, and then, yeah.
I mean, I think that's the big thing. I think most healthcare providers understand enough to know that they're aware. They're aware that the way they're doing things right now is not sustainable. I see in your background, I see a basketball, and I see a Miami Heat logo on that. Are you a Heat fan?
I'm a fan, but I was raised in Pittsburgh, so I don't really have a team. So that's the only place I let myself go wherever. And that was D-Wade's last year. So
Really? Oh wow.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm a Miami guy. I'm a
All right,
Miami,
right on. Yeah.
and yeah. So I was actually down there for the finals last year. I went to game
Okay,
3. I
okay.
finished my event. And everybody's like, Where's he running to?" I'm like, "Bye, everybody, bye." Man, I drove right down there for game 3. So anyways,
Love
um,
that.
but no, but I think the first thing is creating awareness,
Yes.
and I think most healthcare providers understand. Okay, what I'm doing is not sustainable. Okay, here, ready? Let's bring this to D Wade.
Hmm.
As amazing as Dwayne Wade was, for those of you that are listening, Dwayne Wade was is a Hall of Fame basketball player. Played
Yep.
for the Miami Heat for about 15 years. Has won 3 NBA championships.
Phenomenal career. Like, yeah, Hall of Famer.
Phenomenal,
Yeah, yeah.
phenomenal career. But guess what? There's something called father time, and it happens to every single player out there. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Some players it happens to faster than others. And as amazing as he was, father time eventually catches up to you, and you're not as fast, you're not as quick.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? The same thing happens in healthcare as well. So healthcare is it's a physical job.
Mhm.
Okay, and what we want to do is the first goal of any healthcare provider should be that I want to have as long of a career as possible because this is how I earn my income. Okay, now hopefully you all that are listening, hopefully you understand these basketball analogies, but this is what Dwayne Wade did initially when he came into the league. He was a slasher. He would go to the lane. He just just
Lived in the paint, very physical.
live in the
Yeah,
paint,
yeah,
this,
yeah.
that, da, 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 da. And,
Aggressive.
he,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and by
yeah.
the way, he was great doing that. He was
Yep.
fantastic. But he realized about 8 years in,
Hmm.
I can't do this I can't do this for much longer. All right. So, by the way, he changed. All right, now let me bring it to healthcare providers. Healthcare providers, the way we have been trained to bring value is that we have to show up for our patients. We have to be in the room with every single patient. We have to treat them. You're a therapist, you're a chiropractor, or this or that. You can do it. You can do it for a while, but then after a while, you start to realize, you start to become aware. And you're like, I don't know if this is sustainable.
Hmm.
I don't know if
Hmm.
I can do another 10 years of this. Okay.
Hmm.
And so what happens is we become aware, and we become aware that, all right, the way we're doing it right now, okay, it's working right now and I'm getting by, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do this for a very long time. So here's what happens. What happens is some people just say, you know what? I'm not going to change. D Wade said, you know what? I am going to change. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on my jump shot more. I'm going to start doing things that are not going to put so much taxing on my body. All right, so now let's bring this back to healthcare. So what healthcare providers do is they're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can put some products in my clinic. Maybe I can put this in my clinic. Maybe I can add therapists. I can do this. I can do that. Okay, and then because we haven't learned how to maximize and how to actually position ourselves with those things,
Hmm.
if we don't learn that part, then those things end up being a waste. Okay, those things end up being a waste. Now, in Dwayne Wade's thing, what he was like, well, okay, my career is going great and I've actually won a championship, but I need to scale my career. I need to do different things. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go recruit amazing guys to come and play with me so they can help me. And it actually extended his career. Okay, that's when the big three started. Okay,
That's
the
right.
other thing he said, I need to change the way that the way that I do my craft. So I'm not going to go to the lane all the time. I'm going to actually work on other parts of my game. So he started to work on his jump shot, this, that, da, 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 da. And it allowed him to extend his career out probably an additional 4 to 5 years. Those 4 to 5 years, he made more money than all the other years combined.
It's a great point. It's a great
Okay.
point.
And so we have to understand that as healthcare providers, that we have to figure out how can we scale what we're doing so that it doesn't put as much stress and pressure on us so it can actually elongate our career.
Man, to me, this is the point, and this is why I love what you're doing as far as bringing together other therapists that have done it. Well, you've done it, but then bringing it looks like you have a whole community of people that are doing it in the process of learning, and some probably have already hit that whole point of like mastery with this because there are a lot of people that don't have access to this. I mean, I'm in the field and I have a small team of reps and we're talking to people all the time and I bring them on my show and I get to know them over time. We have lunch, we have dinners, and you're just like, man, like, so what's the game plan? Mid 40s, where we go in 10 years? I'm
Yeah.
all right. I'm gonna go hire me another doc and kind of go through that process. And you know that game well. But let's talk about your whole community, man, because you have an event coming up next month. Is that right?
Yeah. Next month, Smart Success Healthcare Live. Yep.
Talk about it.
So this is how I've positioned myself in the marketplace. What I realize is, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, I am a physical therapist by trade, and I've been a therapist for 23 years. I haven't treated in my clinics since 2017, though. So I just want to make that clear. But the way that I was able to get out of my clinics and not have to treat anymore in the clinics and still be in the field and make more in a month than I ever made in a year is because of what I'm about to explain to you all right now. Okay. What I have realized is I've realized that I was trained through physical therapy school, and you could just insert your profession. You've been trained to be an implementer.
Yeah.
And an implementer is someone that is masterful at the craft of actually doing something to someone. And I realized that at that base level of implementation, just like how I explained to you guys that the lowest level of learning is learning about something, the lowest level of doing is implementing. Okay. And so what I realized is that I needed to change from being an implementer, a specialist in my field at implementing, and I needed to have people value me as being a decision maker. And so this is as I explain this, it's going to explain to you why I've set this event up the way that I have. So it's something that I started to learn that I needed to develop a skill set, just like how Dwayne Wade needed to develop a new skill set, because the skill set that I had served me well, but it was going to end my career early, and I was not going to be able to capitalize and maximize off of it. So what I did is I said, you know what? I wanted to now become the I know a guy. And let me tell you what that is. To my patients, I wanted to be positioned no longer as just the ultimate implementer and the master specialist in dry needling or this or manual this or whatever. I wanted to be the I know a guy, which is I am going to help you make decisions about many different things in your life because I care about you as a whole, not just about what I can do for you as a physical therapist. So if somebody's like, you know, a good cardiologist, oh man, I know a guy. Hey, you know a good dietitian? Oh man, I know a chick, man. I know this girl. Man. She's amazing, bro. Okay, you know a good speech therapist for my son? And I started to build this network of people, not just in healthcare. Where's the best place to go to for juicing? Hey, you want CrossFit? Oh man, these are the 3 best places for CrossFit. Hey, Orange Theory. Oh no, there's Orange Theory there, but this location over here is it. So I started to become that person to where people were like, if they were thinking about something and they weren't sure, they would come to G.
Wow, that's
and
powerful.
so
Man.
what I realize is that where healthcare providers are missing out right now is they don't have a network. They don't have a network of people for them to even become a decision maker.
Wow.
They don't know who the right people are for different products. Who are the right people if you're trying to get rid of some chronic pain? Who are the people to go to? Wait, what things are for this? Like, who are the newbie guys? Who's the shockwave guys? Who? And they don't have a network. So now when they actually have built a network, now people are valuing me for my brain, not my hands. And so what I've done with Smart Success Healthcare is I've purposely created a network of different healthcare providers so that now we can be in each other's Rolodex of you are the one here, you are the one here, you are the one here. And I realized that we were going to be limited if our skill set was just physically doing something for people. So I realized that what we needed to do is everybody needed to take their knowledge, their information, put it in an online package so that even if you're in California or you're in Lansing, Michigan, or I'm in Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, we can still refer people to one another and not have to be physically in front of them. And now that is what has made my clients exponentially more valued in the marketplace.
Dude, I love a gang about that, man, because one of the things that I've noticed, and it's not anything that's earth-shattering, but think about it. People don't have to go too many places these days,
Right.
like physically. You don't have to go a lot of places. You can get the majority of things at your house. You can get the majority of things dropped off at your doorstep. If not, someone to come to you. And when someone chooses to go into a clinic, it's one of the only places where they can possibly have that neighborhood feel of like, hey, I don't know exactly what's going on in my neighborhood. I just moved from LA back to Atlanta about last year or so. And it's like Atlanta's different now. Atlanta's a brand new town, right? So like the places I would used to go when I was down here, like in like college, you have to reacclimate you with, get myself back tapped in, and those places don't exist. I can
Right.
find all stuff online and get all the information there. So that's great. But if I just want to go in and say and see somebody, right? There's not too many places I can do that. So combining the online presence with that on-site network is
It's
major, man. I think it's
it's
major.
absolutely huge. And
Yep.
that's one thing that I train all my clients is that it's in your best interest to have a hybrid business.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of discuss that. That's really important. I mean,
Yeah.
like my coaching and consulting is hybrid. My clinics, hybrid. My virtual
Mm,
staffing agency, hybrid. My software agency, hybrid.
mm.
Every single business I have is hybrid. Okay. Because I understand this. I understand something called the ease intimacy scale. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you.
Please.
There's many different, me and you are communicating right now.
Yep.
Okay? When it comes to money, money is not created. Money is just exchange.
Hmm.
You got money. The goal should be that I exchange money with you. You exchange money with me. Okay. If it makes sense, right? If it makes sense.
Of course.
Okay. So, so what people have to understand is that money is not created. Money is exchanged with people. Somebody's got your money. You got to figure out how to bring value to them in order for you to get their money and then exchange, you give them something that's more valuable than the money they gave you. Okay, great.
Hmm.
So that only happens with us communicating as humans. Okay. Now, the ease intimacy scale works like this. There's different types of communication. All right. Let's talk about intimacy first. I'm going to go on a very low intimate level to a high intimate level. The lowest intimacy level when it comes to communication is email.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
email because you don't know if the person's like, are they messaging you or are they messaging like 10,000 people?
Probably
Right?
10,000.
Yeah. You know what I mean? They're more likely messaging, 10,000 people. Right. Okay.
Right.
So email is low on the intimacy scale, but conversely, it's the highest on the E scale.
Mm.
Like I could sit here right now, I could type up an email, boom, goes out to 30,000 people on my list. Right. Okay.
Mhm.
It's very easy to do. All right. So now let's go to the next level. Next level is for intimacy. That's a little bit better than email, but not as good as a phone call. It's text,
Yeah.
right? Text. I get about 40, 45% of people that will open my emails. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Okay. But text, yeah, probably 90, 95%. Okay. Right. They open it up because text is just a more intimate level of communication. Right. It ain't as good as in person, but it's better than email. Now, how easy is it? It's easier to send out a text than it is to call somebody, right?
Mhm.
It's just important for us to understand that the ease of communication is inverse to the intimacy.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Now, what's after text? Phone call. What's after phone call? Zoom.
Mhm. Mhm.
What's after Zoom? In person. But the reality is, Joe, like I'm right now in Florida, you're in Atlanta, right?
Yep. Yep.
We could have met up last week. I was at my mountain place in Blue Ridge. Okay, that's about an hour and 45 minutes from you. Okay, we could have met up.
Easy. Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah.
but look,
Not too
it's
far from there.
it's it's we were communicating via Instagram DM,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you, when I was communicating with you, I was like, "Oh, you knew Garrett, this and that, da da da," and it wasn't until after I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know this guy. Me and him
Yeah.
talked like 4 years ago." Okay, all right.
Yep.
So, guys,
Yep.
my point is this: I can't meet with you
Mhm.
every single day in person. If I'm waiting to meet with you every day, like you guys want your clients to come in, they're not going to come into your office every day. Okay. But when they come in, the intimacy is so high that they are so willing to listen to whatever it is that you recommend and you have to say. But it's also in your best interest to communicate with them frequently on the times that you can't be with them physically. And so this is what therapists, this is what a lot of healthcare providers don't understand. You have to know the ease intimacy scale And you have to have a business that's set up as hybrid so that you can have frequency of communication and you can have communication that is of a high quality as well. You're not going to be able to do both of them all at the same time, but you have to do it routinely. So,
Man, that is it, man. I mean, like, and this is all right. I know we could do this for another 2 hours. I promise. I promised you only like, hey, let's just record because you were going off. But please, we got to wrap with this. You got to tell everybody how to at least learn about your event if they're interested in learning more. They should probably be a part of your YouTube and at least the actual newsletter so they can kind of see this in real world. Because to me, it's one thing for someone to talk about in theories. Theories are great. To see it in play is something different. I've seen you the whole time. Like just being honest with the audience too. And people know this that have listened to my show. I've turned it off because we were taking different initiatives in marketing and sales. But when it's on, top of mind. I go to trade shows and people know you. Like they roll up on me at the APTA and just start talking. I did about 4 interviews there, just similar, right? Even though we haven't talked in, like I said, 3+ years, man. I've seen your stuff. You haven't stopped. You've been on fire. You've been throwing events. You've been busy. So please tell everyone about the event, how they can at least tap in with you as well. And then, you got to chop it up, man.
yeah. I'm going to be having an event. It's May 31st to June 2nd. It's called Smart Success Healthcare Live. I think this is my 6th time.
Wow.
This event, which is pretty crazy. It's in Clearwater Beach at the Wyndham Grand. So I try to have it. I used to have it the weekend of Memorial Day weekend, and it's just crazy. It's too crazy down here. So we did the first years we did it Memorial Day weekend, but it's especially after COVID, like all the hotels, everybody's moving to Florida. It's crazy. Yeah. They charge like $1 gajillion a night. So we do it the weekend after Memorial Day weekend. It's May 31st, June 1st, June 2nd at the Wyndham Grand. And so basically the event is based on how to actually create a business model that allows you to not exclusively trade time for money, how to create different business models. And it's based off my innovator path, which is how to create offers instead of visits per session, how to create groups, how to create memberships, how to actually get attention and traffic online and offline, how to get people to come to your practice and do everything in a one-to-many format, how to get people to pay you a lot more with less of your time, how to scale and how to grow yourself. And more importantly, I bring the network of people, dietitians, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech therapists, chiropractors. We have 19 different healthcare professions inside of the Smart Success healthcare community. And so we bring everybody together, not only to learn, but to collaborate, to grow, and just to make more money so you can get back more of your time. And so I do that for 3 days, and I do it once a year, and so yeah, you can find out more about it at sshclive2024.com. I would highly advise you to come, if you're looking to be able to scale yourself without killing yourself.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I just want to press pause right there, man, because that is it. That to me was the thing that if for anybody that's in my audience that's thinking about, hey, is it for me? Is it right? Like I see a lot of therapists working hard. Like nobody talks about like, man, nobody's excited about working harder. Like nobody comes to me and says, man, I just want to work harder. Like that's my answer. My answer is to less time with family, less time with my kids, less time, traveling, doing things I actually enjoy in life, and more towards work. Nobody's there, I don't feel like. So once you drop that little line, I think that's something I just want to, double stamp on, man, double clicking on that.
And it's huge, bro. It's huge. It's and people don't know.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, is continuing education programs, they're designed to be able to make you better at what it is that you're currently doing. That's what it's designed to do. Yeah. Right. And I'm not saying they're evil. I'm just saying they're doing what they're designed to do. But the problem is their design your design? I mean, that's the issue. Like just what you said. I'm not waking up every day like, dang, I want to work more. No, I don't want to work more. I want to make more.
That's right.
Okay. Like I want to be with my kids more. I want to be with my wife more. And I do want to impact more, but I don't want to work more. And I'm comfortable saying that. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, if I don't want to work more, What do I need to do? Well, I need to start asking better questions. So, okay, what am I making in a year?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, how do I do what I made in a year? Can I do that in 6 months? And if you say no, that means that you don't have the right model right now set up for that. I know in every single business that I do today that I'm going to actually put my hands on, I have to be able to say what I made last year. Can I do that in 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, it is not the right business model for me. That means if I get smarter, if I get more strategic, that means that I can collapse the time that it takes me to create the same outcome that it took me the year before. Okay. And when you can answer that, and by the way, every single one of you that's listening, you should be able to say yes. And if you can't say yes, you got a problem, come to the event. Okay. I'll show you how to do it. In every single business, if I can't say that, that business gets put to the side.
Mr. Greg Todd, man, dude, you don't disappoint, my friend. You do not disappoint. It's been a little bit of time, but Clearwater, Florida, May 31st is a place that I'm going to recommend a lot of my people that have invested in actual Pies Wave. And people, especially people that I've talked to recently that have been sitting on the sidelines with this. I'm like, look, just go look at some different models, talk to some different people, see what's out there. Because as much as I love our devices, they're not the thing that's going to get you there. Right. You have to have a system. You have to have the mindset to even implement the system too. Like just having the info without having the actual reset and the actual remodeling of like how you're willing to look at life is
Right.
the part that I think is the gap from the people that see just blowing it out the water with our device, and the people that are like, oh man, I wish I knew how to get more people on it, because I'm getting good outcomes, but I'm just not getting the actual flow.
It's here. Let me just say this before we finish the podcast.
Hmm?
If you right now are sitting on the device that you have and you're not making money, please understand this. I think you already know it has nothing to do with the device. The device works. It has to do with this one word, positioning.
Mm.
And if you can't position properly and you can't present properly, you will not sell anyone on something that you know damn well can help them in their life. For any single one of you that have a product and that product is collecting more dust than money,
Mm-hmm.
understand that you have a positioning and presentation problem. It's not a product problem. Okay. So come to the event. I will show you how to do it. I'll show you how to do it. Look, or if you want, you can reach out to me via Instagram. And if you want to get on my private schedule, no problem. It's $3,500 an hour, $25K for the day. Or you can come to the event. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. And I'll show you exactly how to do it so that you can wipe off the dust and we can add some dollars. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, man, Greg Todd, man, as always, man, this was a blast having you on the show, man. Thanks again for coming back for round 2, man.
I appreciate you, Joe. I appreciate you, bro.